Tom Mataro here with Monarch Training. In this video, we're going to cover kipping as it relates to doing pull-ups, muscle-ups, chest to bar, toes to bar, any type of the pulling variations.
The kip is a gymnastics skill that we're going to use, and everything is going to stem from our kip. And at its fundamental level, it's really simple. It's just a transferring between a hollow body position and an arch position. For those positions, we got two things on our body that pivot and rotate. We got our rib cage and we got our hips. In the hollow body position, we're going to pivot those towards each other in the front and try and make ourselves as long as possible. Biggest common mistake when it comes to kipping is getting into the proper hollow body position. When we go into this position, we want to make sure that everything is locked out. Big common mistake. People break. Biggest common one when it comes to that is breaking at the hip. People think like, oh, I want to get into a hollow body, and they try to get into like the biggest sort of what they think would be like a curve, but they end up looking like an angle instead of a curve. In the arch position, we're going to pin our ribs and hips, pelvis, whatever you want to think, together in the back and create that arch. So in the hollow and the arch, we're lengthening ourselves as much as possible, and we're staying very, very tight in these positions. We're going to go into the arch position, get a stretch, getting that stretch reflex, and then we're going to snap back. So we're going to contract really fast, and that's going to help generate that momentum, that stretch, that snap, stretch, snap, as we go. Once we get onto the bar, that same tension we felt in the hollow body and the arch as we were on the ground, we should be just as tight, feeling that much tension as we're on the bar. Work on doing some tight kip swings on the bar. It's not about having a big kip. It's about having a very tight kip to generate that power. If we're loose, you can think of it as a wave. We're trying to have a very high frequency, very tight cycling. If we had like a wave with very big amplitude, it's a lot slower, right? We want to generate force with that speed. So we're getting that momentum out of that kip, out of that tight kip swing, and we're going to add on to it by adding in a straight arm pull, right? So it's more forward and back, and to generate lift, we're going to get that straight arm pull, and that'll bring us up as high as we can. If you get really, really good at getting that straight arm pull, you're going to end up doing an uprise. If everything's connected, you're generating that force back, continuing through with that straight arm pull. So once we have the kip swing down, all of our skills will stem from that. So we create that lift, we're getting momentum out of the snap, and then we're getting that straight arm pull to get our lift, and then from there, we'll add on something to it. So the kip swing never changes for any of these movements, but if we go to do a pull-up, once we get to that height, that kind of top end of that kip swing, that apex, then from there we're going to pull into the bar, then push away, so we get right back to where we were. That way we can go right back into another kip swing. If we're doing a chest to bar, we just need to be able to create a little bit more lift, so we'll be a little bit more patient before we go to pull in, but it's exactly the same. If we're going to do a bar muscle up, we got to be even more patient, and we'll as we pull in, we'll continue to push down. The turn over there is actually very similar to if you've ever done a tricep pull down on a cable machine. It's very, very similar. If we're doing a toes to bar, we get back, and then we're going to break at the hip. So unlike what we were doing before, we didn't want to break in the hip. For a toes to bar, we'll break at the hip and bring our toes to the bar, getting into that like piked position. Anyway, that's it for us here at Monarch Training. Don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies, make them subscribe, whatever. See ya.